So a lot of the images that you've seen, again, are focus stacked. And so the idea of focus stacking is if you take one picture at f2.8, the flower is not sharp. That's the image on the left. If we take one picture at f22, now the flower is completely sharp, but the background is distracting. Focus stacking allows you to be able to have the best of both worlds. Your background is 2.8, but your subject is f22. And I'm warning you, it's addictive. It's technical. Some people like, oh, I don't know if I like it, but I like the fact that I can do it right out of camera. I can be done. I don't have to be able to bring it home and to be able to post process it. So focus stacking is basically combining pictures to get a larger depth of field that you could in one single picture. And again, having this beautiful bokeh background that's going on here. It's especially useful for macro photography because in macro photography, you could be at f22 or f36, and no matter what, you can't get enough depth of field in a macro image. And you also will, at macro photography, start to have some distortion at those apertures as well. So the question becomes like, when do you focus stack? If your background is not 3 feet away, if your background is complex and complicated and you want your background to really be sharp all the way through, if you have, a nice plain background behind your subject and it's 3 feet away, you probably don't need to be able to focus stack, as I showed some earlier in the pictures where you can have a non-distracting background. But a lot of times we don't have those clean, crisp environments. And so therefore we need it. Or as I mentioned, if you're going to do any kind of magnification for macro photography, you need to be able to focus stack. So 2.8, we only have the grill of Bugs Bunny being sharp, 8 stacks. And most of my focus stacking is 60 millimeter handheld. It's 8 or 10 stacks. If I need to go to 15, I'm generally going to use a tripod with the 90 millimeter, probably more 50-50 with the tripod and handheld now. It's just a little bit of a bigger lens, and I'm having a little bit more fun doing some intentional camera movement with it as well. So the fiddleheads are out right now this time of year. So again, 2.8, the whole fiddlehead isn't sharp. The background looks great. The f22, background's terrible now. So we get the best of both worlds within those. Sometimes it's important for storytelling. Tom found this one where the baby blue Himalayan poppy is talking to the parent. They both need to be able to be sharp for that story. So this one here, he's got 15 images stacked. He tends to be on a tripod when he focus stacks. I tend to prefer hand holding if I can do, again, between 8 and 10. If I start to go up to 15, now if I need more than 15, I can always focus bracket and then bring it into Photoshop or Helicon Focus. But I just love those dreamy backgrounds. I love my subject being sharp. The other problem is that f20 or f22, oftentimes your shutter speed is really low, your ISO is high, and any little wind is also going to make your image not quite as sharp. So you can see here, focused on just the middle, everything else is kind of blurry. I love this wabi-sabi. We've got all the phases of the buds. If I focus on the front, now that part's sharp, everything else is not. I need to be able to focus stack that together to be able to have all of those buds and be able to tell the whole story with that image as well. Focus stacking, like I said, can be really addictive once you get used to those dreamy backgrounds that are going on. We spent 4 days down at Longwood Gardens, and Tom had just a blast with doing things with the 90 millimeter macro lens and focus stacking. But you can do these with critters too. Sometimes they'll move and then you have to kind of do it again. It'll give you an error message or it'll give you 5 antenna. But I would say 9 times out of 10, your shutter speed is fast enough so that you can even do this with things that are alive as well. This is an orchid praying mantis, and this little guy sat perfectly still for me while I focus stacked it.